Since my first impressions videos in the past turned out to be usually way too long, I promise from now on I will try to keep the previews a lot more compact and leave a few more details and mysteries left for the actual final review. But other than that, a big thanks to Cyberport for this review unit, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get my hands on it so quickly. And talking about quick, let's already jump into the design and build quality, and all I can say, it looks absolutely beautiful, really stunning and elegant, and it reminds me a lot at the Honor 8, but not just in terms of design, but actual feel in hand, because it feels just as premium, well-rounded off, great compact in-hand feel. Yes, there are a few minor downsides, maybe like the slightly more slippery sides. You see some minor imperfections here at the lacquer, at the corners. The buttons are maybe just plastic, and the fingerprint reader maybe isn't quite as crazy fast. But considering the lower price point, what you get here, in my opinion, is absolutely top-notch. In terms of the display, I have to say pretty much the same, because it is a high quality display, absolutely great, as known from Huawei, calibrated. But the one thing that I just have to complain about is the lack of the proper oleophobic coating, because it picks up fingerprints so quickly and it's actually not that easy to clean them off. And this actually drove me a little bit nuts today, because it's a little bit more sticky and just doesn't feel as premium. This is, in my opinion, something that I can't really accept anymore in 2017 on a device priced in this price range, and not from Huawei, because they still kind of seem to still want to stick with this. I just don't know why. Of course, if you're used to a screen protector, you shouldn't have a problem with that at all, but I just have to point it out. In terms of the speaker, it is the one here on the right. It is actually very loud, but it lacks pretty much all sorts of lower frequencies, and that's why it's a little bit on the harsher side, but it should still get the job done. Headphone jack, I can't really judge just yet. And in terms of performance, all I can say is it performs actually very nice, because as you can see here, very smooth, pretty much lag free, and in my opinion it performs better than the Honor 6X with the same SoC, but as you can also see, there is quite some motion blur going on due to the seemingly lower refresh rate display, and along with the, in my opinion, unnecessary tweaked scrolling from Huawei, this diminishes the overall experience a little bit, because the overall performance is absolutely there, but the slight blur and the little bit weird scrolling takes a little bit off of that. In terms of battery, I can't judge it yet, but just judging it from the Honor 6X with the same SoC, of course, due to the bigger display, also bigger battery, this should at least perform very good, if not great, but of course that's up for the final review. In terms of software, what is absolutely nice to see and actually was surprising me a bit, it is already running Nougat. This comes with a few pros and cons. The pro, I definitely like the easier accessible quick settings now, just more convenient. The one thing that I don't like so much is the new kind of recent app style, which looks like stock, but the first card, in my opinion, is just way too big and not stock-like. And a few people, especially EMUI users, don't really like that. They like the side-scrolling one, and I totally agree with that. I'm using Nova Launcher, but what the new UI definitely allows you to have an app drawer, which I will show off later in the review, and I will get into a lot more of the software here in the review. But what I wanted to point out just real quick, just so you know that, in my opinion, it has come closer to stock Android, so it shouldn't really bother those people who had a problem in the past with EMUI. But at its core, it still is EMUI, and it feels and looks still a lot like it. So everyone who wants and likes the old one, don't bother too much about some changes. At the core, it's still that, and I'm totally fine with the software. I like it by now, but they still have to maybe sort out a few minor quirks, which I will talk about later in the review. The camera, as always, I will leave up for the review. Now, let's get to an early verdict and not a final conclusion just yet. Design, absolutely yes. Absolutely. Display, absolutely yes as well, but with the, let's say, chunk of salt with the lack of the proper oleophobic coating. That is something that personally makes me a little bit angry. Then the sound should get the job done. Performance is very nice, but if you maybe don't consider imported phones, because for this price range, those offer a noticeable better performance. But what you get on the local market, this is still absolutely on par with those. Very lag-free, but as I said, not quite a super smooth feeling. Other than that, the battery should be at least very good, but it's up for the review to see if that's true. Software, in my opinion, is absolutely totally fine. Shouldn't really bother one or the other sides. It's definitely way further off from the older iOS look, but it is still EMUI. Camera, I have no idea just yet. So all of that will be covered in review. What's my quick early conclusion? It's a really nice phone, priced just a tad too high. I would like to see it a little bit closer to 200, but since it was just released, the price will fall down eventually, and then I can easier recommend it. Of course, it doesn't seem quite to offer the same great value of the Honor 6X, but this is a 5.5 inch and not everyone wants it. And if you want a 5.2 incher, or you want a, let's say, cheaper Honor 8 with a little bit of a few minor compromises, this is a viable solution after all, so far, what I think. But of course, I will give you the full proper conclusion and all the details that are missing in the final review. So wait for that for a few more days. And otherwise, if you have anything to say, leave that down in the comments. And if you like this video, I think you know what to do. Until next time, bye.